Stop scrolling for just a moment, because if you wake up every morning with stiff fingers, aching knees, or joints that feel older than you are, there's a strong chance the pain isn't random, and it's not just getting older. What if I told you that something you're eating every single day is quietly fueling the inflammation inside your joints, like adding fuel to a fire you're desperately trying to put out? And what if one of those foods is sitting in your kitchen right now, labeled as healthy? Stay with me because by the end of this video, you'll understand why your joints hurt more in the morning, why medications sometimes barely help, and how a few simple food swaps can dramatically change how your body feels, sometimes faster than you'd expect. I see this all the time. People do everything right. They follow their doctor's advice. They take the pills. They use heat. They rest. They push through the pain. And yet, every year the stiffness lasts longer. The swelling gets worse. The joints feel tighter, heavier, less cooperative. And then I ask one simple question that almost no one expects. What did you eat yesterday? That's usually when the light bulb turns on. Because here's the uncomfortable truth most people are never told. Many foods that are marketed as normal or even healthy are quietly triggering inflammation in your body every single day. And if you already have arthritis or osteoarthritis, that inflammation doesn't stay silent. It shows up exactly where you feel it the most, your joints. And this is where it gets interesting. It's not always the obvious junk food. It's not just soda or candy. It's foods with clean-looking packaging, foods with health claims, foods you'd never suspect. So today, I want to walk you through 3 specific foods that can dramatically worsen joint inflammation without you realizing it's happening. And stay till the end, because I'll also share what to eat instead to help calm inflammation and support your joints naturally. Let's start with the one that surprises almost everyone. There's an ingredient hiding in a huge number of packaged foods. Protein bars, granola bars, instant oatmeal, flavored yogurt, even fitness snacks. It doesn't sound dangerous. In fact, it sounds scientific, harmless, boring. But inside your body, it behaves like a sugar bomb. I'm talking about maltodextrin. You may have seen that word before and skipped right past it. Most people do. But once you understand what it does, you'll never ignore it again. Maltodextrin is a highly processed carbohydrate made from starch, often corn, rice, or potatoes. It doesn't taste sweet, which is exactly why it's so sneaky, but your body treats it almost identically to pure sugar. It gets absorbed incredibly fast. Your blood sugar spikes, your insulin surges, and within hours, your inflammatory pathways light up. And here's the part most people never connect. Those inflammatory signals don't just float around harmlessly. They travel through your bloodstream and settle in vulnerable tissues, especially joints that are already sensitive. That's why so many people notice more stiffness after eating packaged foods, why swelling feels worse the next morning, why pain flares seem random, but actually aren't. And there's more. Maltodextrin doesn't just affect blood sugar, it can weaken the lining of your gut. When that barrier becomes compromised, inflammatory compounds slip into the bloodstream more easily, amplifying inflammation throughout the body. For someone with arthritis, this can feel like a sudden flare with no clear cause, but the cause was sitting on your plate. What makes this even more frustrating is how well hidden it is. It doesn't show up as sugar. It may appear as maltodextrin, dextrin, modified starch, or dextrose. Different names, same problem. And this matters not just for arthritis, but for anyone dealing with insulin resistance, prediabetes, weight gain, or chronic fatigue. But for joint pain, this ingredient can be a game changer in the worst way. Now let's move to the second major culprit, because this one is everywhere. Most people believe they're making a smart choice by using vegetable oils like sunflower, corn, or soybean oil. After all, they're called vegetable oils. That sounds healthy, right? But this is where the story takes a turn. These oils don't come from gently pressing vegetables. They're produced through intense industrial processing, high heat, chemical solvents, deodorizing steps to remove rancid smells. By the time they reach your kitchen, they're a completely altered substance, and your body knows it. These oils are extremely high in omega-6 fatty acids. Now, omega-6 itself isn't evil. Your body actually needs it, in balance. The problem is that modern diets contain far too much omega-6 and almost no omega-3 to counteract it. Think of omega-6 and omega-3 as opposing forces. They use the same enzymes. They compete for the same pathways. When omega-6 dominates, your body produces more inflammatory compounds and fewer anti-inflammatory ones, and that imbalance becomes chronic. This is why inflammation doesn't turn off. It just simmers quietly in the background. And if you have arthritis, you feel that imbalance in your joints every day. More stiffness, more swelling, more pain after movement or rest. What makes this tricky is that these oils aren't just in your frying pan. They're in bread, crackers, chips, salad dressings, sauces, soups, frozen meals. If it comes in a package, chances are it contains these oils. On labels, you'll see sunflower oil, soybean oil, corn oil, or the vague term vegetable oil. Different names, same inflammatory effect. But here's the good news, and don't skip this part. When you reduce these oils and replace them with better fats, many people notice changes surprisingly fast. Less stiffness, better movement, less swelling by the end of the day. Extra virgin olive oil is a powerful option. Avocado oil works well for higher heat cooking. Fatty foods like avocados, chia seeds, and omega-3 rich fish help restore balance. And studies consistently show that improving this fat ratio can significantly reduce inflammatory markers, sometimes by nearly half. Now we come to the third food, and this one is emotional for a lot of people, because it's not just a food, it's a habit, a comfort, a tradition. Processed meats, especially bacon. When you see bacon on a plate, you see breakfast, flavor, satisfaction. But what you don't see is the chemical processing that happened long before it hit the pan. Curing agents, preservatives, artificial coloring, smoke flavorings. And when it's cooked until crispy, something else forms. Compounds known as advanced glycation end products. These compounds don't just increase inflammation. They bind to joint tissues. They stiffen cartilage. They accelerate wear from the inside out. This is why so many people wake up the day after eating processed meats with swollen fingers, aching knees, or joints that feel locked up. They blame the weather. They blame sleep. They blame age. But the trigger was food. And when processed meat is combined with refined carbs or industrial oils, the inflammatory load multiplies. Your body simply can't keep up. Now, take a breath, because I don't want to leave you feeling overwhelmed. Let's talk about what helps. The first anti-inflammatory food I want you to know about is fresh ginger. Not capsules, not artificial flavoring, real ginger. Ginger works by calming inflammatory pathways and supporting circulation. Even small daily amounts, grated into meals or brewed as tea, can make a noticeable difference. Many people report less morning stiffness and less hand swelling within days. The second is turmeric, but it has to be used correctly. Turmeric's active compound needs either black pepper or healthy fat to work. When paired properly, it supports inflammation control and pain signaling. Add it at the end of cooking, mix it with olive oil, use it intentionally. And the third, arguably the most powerful, is fatty fish. Salmon, sardines, mackerel. Omega-3 fats directly counter inflammatory processes. Eating fatty fish just 2 to 3 times a week can shift the balance in your favor. Here's the truth I want you to remember. Your body isn't betraying you. It's responding to what you give it. You don't need perfection. You don't need extreme diets. Start with one change, one swap, one decision. This week, change the oil you cook with. Next week, replace a packaged snack with whole food. The week after, reduce processed meat. Small steps, consistent choices, and over time, your joints will tell you the difference. If you found this helpful, let me know in the comments which change you're starting with. And if you want more practical guidance like anti-inflammatory meal ideas or simple routines, tell me what you'd like to see next. This is Health Wellness Secrets, and your healing starts with what you choose today.